Okay class, lesson is in session. This is your Business 101, how to run a successful business based on the observations and lessons that I have learnt over the near 6 years that I have been observing businesses, services, restaurants, shops, all different sectors here in South Italy. There are some key things, both positive and negative, that businesses excel at and also fail miserably at here in the south of Italy. And I want to share them with you in this video today, because if you're inspired to set up your own business, or indeed if you're just curious to know how the world of business even works here in South Italy, I think this video can really be of use to you. So if you enjoy learning about the reality of life here in South Italy, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my future content. And let's get into the video. Now, the lessons and points that I'm going to mention in this video are all very much interconnected. And it's funny because I'll tell you a little secret. This week I found a spider in my apartment, and let me tell you, in the nearly 2 years of having lived here, this is the first spider that I have found. And I was just thinking the other day, we don't get spiders here. But the reason I mention this is because, of course, I had to do a bit of Google research to understand the symbolism of a spider. It's a very positive message, thankfully, but also there was a point that said everything is interconnected. Spiders remind us that everything is interconnected, and even those things in life that aren't serving you, or those people, those places, you can learn something from, because that is how life is. Everything is interconnected. And so, in true form and in dedication to that beautiful spider that inspired this video, let's get into the first fundamental aspect of running a successful business inspired by Italy. Okay, the first key fundamental aspect of starting and running a successful business is to treat your customers and clients well. Now, I feel really sad to say this because this doesn't always happen here in South Italy, and I've had some of my worst customer experience moments here in South Italy, which makes me feel really disappointed. But it's something that, if you don't get right, will easily destroy your business and its reputation, which we'll talk about next. But essentially, the experiences I've had have been at both ends of the spectrum. On the one hand, I've experienced some excellent customer services, businesses that really know what they're doing. They really understand their customers. They excel at what they do. They make you feel special. They make you feel valued. They give you attention and their time. And they just leave you feeling really satisfied with the experience that you have had, in whichever way, shape or form it may be, whether it's a restaurant, a beauty salon, supermarket, shop, whatever it may be. You leave feeling really satisfied. And as a result, you're more than likely going to become a loyal customer. And I can say that from personal experience. Those places that have given me the best service, I frequent on a regular basis, because I appreciate the level of attention that is given to me as a paying customer. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, which unfortunately feels like it's the majority of places here in South Italy, we have the poor to very low stroke non-existent customer service. And I've experienced this in so many different places. So I've experienced this at the hairdressers. I spoke about it in this video up here if you fancy having a laugh, where the hairdresser was cutting my hair, not even looking at my hair because they were deep in conversation with another colleague. That experience left me reeling, and I never went back to that hair salon again. I've been to the supermarket and the cashier is deep in conversation on the telephone at the same time they are serving me. I've never gone back. I've experienced people who speak to you like they're not really interested, people that don't even greet you, people that don't even say thank you. It's something. And I know I'm not the only person to talk about this, because I've seen this in other YouTube videos, I've seen this in news reports, people talking about how customer care isn't really something that businesses really focus on enough here in Italy. And I can concur based on my own experiences. I also think you notice this if you're a tourist, or maybe you don't if you're not aware. Now, I hate to say it, but I don't mince my words. Some businesses here in the south of Italy will treat you as if you are a walking banknote, which essentially means they're not interested in delivering the best quality of service for you. They're just interested in your money. This means that if you're not careful, you could very easily find yourself being ripped off for something that wouldn't cost the same for a local or another person. Now, I'm going to give you an example, okay? Last August, I went out for dinner at a pizzeria in a pretty touristical part of Palermo, right in the historical centre. And as always, when it was time to pay, I meticulously checked the bill. I'm a little bit like this. If you don't know what that means, that essentially means I'm very careful with my money. And essentially, I wanted to check that, everything was in order. I'm British, forgive me. But I'm very glad that I did, because hidden in the bill were some drinks that we'd never ordered and we'd never received. So, of course, the very British me wanted to speak to the waiter and waitress, and after some time, because it took some time for them to understand or resolve or come up with an excuse, choose from the above, they were like, oh, sorry, it's an error, and they deleted it. Now, you might be thinking, oh, okay, it's just a couple of euros. This was like nearly 10 euros worth of something similar to that of drinks. And I was like, excuse me, if I had been a tourist and I hadn't really bothered to check my bill properly, or I hadn't bothered to really make sure that everything was in order, that's an extra 10 euros they would have made off the back of me. You've got to be so careful. I can't stress this enough. Like, I'm sure you've all read the news reports about the extortionate price of coffee in St. Mark's Square in Venice, right? Please be switched on, be savvy. Stay tuned next week. I'm launching something that's going to help you if you plan to come to Italy as a tourist, because I don't want you to have any of these experiences, right? So stay tuned. But that said, it's incredible. And these businesses do it because they know they can get away with it. They know that you are there for one time, they make as much money as they can from you, and then off you go. But what people don't have is the foresight to understand that you do that enough times to enough people. At some point, people are going to clock on to what you're doing. They're never going to come back to you again in the future if they plan to revisit Italy, because guess what, guys? We do go back to the same country as tourists if we like it. Also, they're never going to recommend your place to another person, be it a friend or family member who may also want to visit Italy. And not only that, the cherry on the cake is the fact that they are probably going to leave you a very shitty review on TripAdvisor if your kind of establishment is on that kind of website. So essentially, you've really got to think long term as a business. So many businesses here don't. They think of people in the moment, making a quick buck, making what they can, but they fail to remember that that's not a way to deliver a great service and to build a sustainable long-term business. It just isn't. Because when people start to clock onto the fact that you're deliberately ripping people off, you're going to start to trash what I'm about to talk about as the next fundamental step. And that thing is your reputation. A reputation is something that businesses work so hard to achieve and maintain and kind of improve upon all the time, but it is equally as easy to lose a reputation as hard as it is to achieve it. So essentially, it's super important to always remember about the quality of service and about treating your clients and customers well, which is where it ties into that first fundamental step. Because if you don't, you risk ruining that reputation that you have worked so hard to build. Now, there are so many businesses here in Palermo especially that really play into their reputation very well and have managed to sustain it for a very long period of time. There are a lot of businesses here in the south of Italy that have been in the same family for many generations. And as such, with each new generation that takes over the running of that business, there is a certain expectation to maintain or uphold the reputation that has been set from the generation before. And there are some amazing businesses that do such a fantastic job. In fact, I ate lunch today at a rosticceria in Palermo that is over 20 years old and is so busy that people queue outside to get their lunch. How incredible is that? 20 years of incredible service, quality food that keeps people coming back for more. Now that is an example of an extremely good reputation. But unfortunately, what often tarnishes a business's reputation is the lure of money. Goodness me, money is given such a bad rap, but essentially it's how we view it. And people that view money as being the be all and end all of running a business quickly find themselves ruining something very special that they have spent years building. Because let me tell it to you straight. Money is, of course, the amazing advantage of running a successful business. That is an added bonus. But the primary focus of running a business should always be about the customer and the client and the quality of service. If you are primarily driven by money and the amount of profit that you are going to make, very quickly you are going to start losing interest in your clients and customers, focusing too much on the hard sell and not on the quality of what you're actually delivering upon. Not really living up to what you deliver upon because you promised the world in order to secure the sale. There are so many things that end up going wrong when you are blinded by money, which is why money should never be the sole reason that you start a business. It should be the added bonus, the added benefit of having a successful business, but there's got to be a deeper passion behind why you want to do what you want to do. Because the businesses that excel here in Italy have that passion. They have that desire and that drive to do well and to deliver something amazing and exceptional. And for that, they end up making a lot of money because the quality and the service is so good. But then on the other end of the spectrum, those businesses that have an amazing reputation slowly start to trash it and ruin it by becoming obsessed about money and letting that be the reason and sole focus of what they do. And as a result, everything else starts to slip. They take their eye off the ball, and before they know it, what they're working with is not really what they started building many years ago. So it's a careful balance, this one, but reputation is everything. And I have seen businesses, again, at both ends of the spectrum, do very well with their reputation and also be at risk of really starting to lose it. And that is a real shame, because guess what? Leading into step number 3, Italy is extremely connected. Connection is, of course, a super important aspect when you are running a successful business. But here in Italy, it's kind of next level, because in Italy, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody. It's like really, really interconnected. And the one powerful form of marketing in Italy is word of mouth marketing. Italian people tend to trust more the recommendations from their friends and family than random advertisements that are paid for by companies. That's how powerful this kind of connection and recommendation and referral aspect really is here in Italy. And unfortunately, businesses sometimes forget about this. Businesses sometimes forget how, yes, you might make a sale. Fantastic. But if you don't deliver upon that, that person will never recommend you to anybody else. So you have missed out on many more future potential sales because you haven't delivered upon what you said you were going to do. This is the risk, because businesses tend to splash the cash when it comes to advertising, throw lots of money behind their adverts, behind their marketing campaigns and strategies, when actually there's a strategy and something that is completely free that businesses don't utilize enough here in Italy, and that is word of mouth marketing. There is the potential for businesses here to grow and become super successful with like little to no budget if they build up enough of a loyal customer base who will then recommend their business to other people. I've seen it happen. I know that this can happen. Yet businesses tend to turn to the money first and allow that to fuel everything else, rather than realizing that if they focus on the quality of the product and service that they are delivering, they're more than likely going to reap dividends through the free marketing that is going to be done by the very clients that they are serving. And that is something that is really, really important to remember. And so I feel like, you know, this whole connection thing really teaches you the importance of networking, of building your relationships with people, of finding people who, you know, support what you do, and kind of building a community around that. Community is everything, and connection is everything, and it will really serve your business well if you are able to do that. And you know, I see it here in Italy. I see the businesses that have developed like tribes, like loyal followings of people who follow them on social media, support everything they do, go to the events, buy the tickets, buy the merchandise. They're there, they're up for it. Those people feel like they belong somewhere, and that's through the power of connection. Word of mouth recommendations, the feeling that people are valued makes people feel connected. And with connectedness comes community. And this is why the next stage is also really important, because you have to know your customer. I see so many businesses here in Italy that try to market to everybody, but let me tell you something, if you market to everybody, you market to nobody. There is not one business in operation that can be suitable for every single person around the world. There just isn't. Not even Google can be suitable for every single person around the world. What about all those technophobes that don't like to use the internet? Essentially, what you have to remember is that you have a particular customer focus, a particular niche, a particular aspect of the market that you are targeting your business towards. And you need to double down on that. You need to get to know your customer as if they were like your best friend. Get to know every aspect of them, their likes, their dislikes, their fears, what it is that they really value and appreciate, what it is that they really don't like and are turned off by. Those are the things that you need to really establish, because then it helps you as a business to create a strategy for your marketing that is going to absolutely speak at a much deeper level to your potential clients. It's going to enable you to create products and services that your clients are desperately seeking or need. And it's just going to help you to be more focused with the quality of service that you deliver. I see it here in Italy where people try and be everything to everyone. You'll have a shop that sells absolutely everything. Food, electrical items, gadgets, maybe they even sell newspapers. It's a bit of a mishmash, and essentially people don't know where they belong in that kind of business. And this business cannot really market itself to everyone, because guess what? People tend to go to more specialist shops here in Italy. It's kind of a thing. If you need an electrical item, if you don't shop online at Amazon, you might go to Media World or My Expert. Typical electronic shops that deal with technology and gadgets and those kinds of things. Italy is very traditional in this sense. People have specific shops for specific niches. It's not so much like in the UK where you have these huge department stores where you can buy everything. They exist in Italy, but people tend to be more traditional in terms of visiting specific shops for a specific need, because guess what? When that shop knows its customer, is able to deliver a level of service unparalleled to anything else, because it's very focused on a particular niche and it knows what to do for that customer that maybe a shop that's trying to be all to everyone doesn't have a clue where to begin. So I think this is a really important aspect, and I see it here in Italy that those shops that are very specialist tend to do very well because they know their stuff, and people can trust in that kind of service because they feel that that business gets them, and that's because they know their customer. And it kind of leads into the point where, can you ever have too many of the same business? Yes, you can. I see it here in Italy a lot. Pretty much on every street corner there is a bar, a pizzeria, maybe a newsagents. There are a lot of repetitive businesses, samey businesses here in Italy, that it's super important to have a point of difference. Now, a point of difference can be anything from the branding right through to the service and product that you offer. And it's so important to have this, because if you are the same as everybody else around you, there is nothing that is going to make somebody choose to come to you instead of to one of your competitors. You have to offer something or present it in a way that is very different to those businesses around you in order to stand out from the crowd, and in order to be kind of fresh and innovative and something that people are interested in. Now, I see this a lot with bars here in Italy because, as I said before, there's a bar on pretty much every street corner. But you come to understand, once you've lived here for some time, the bars that do things in slightly different ways for different clients. For example, there are the bars that are more like bistros. You can go in, you can have a cornetto for breakfast, you can have a coffee standing up, but then you also have the option to sit in a more elegant eating area and actually eat your food inside the bar, and they'll prepare lunch dishes and dinner dishes. So you have those kind of more high-end bars that provide a more exquisite service, should we say. And then you have the bars that are more like simple, no fluff kind of bars. You go in, you take your food, you take your coffee, you go. Simple, not pretentious, and they attract a certain kind of client who isn't interested in sitting down to eat. They want something fast that's going to be delicious, and then they have to go. Maybe they're workers, maybe they're people who are in a hurry. They don't have the time to sit down and eat. They just want something that's going to serve their needs. So I noticed this, there are points of difference, even though the businesses are the same. And this is how businesses survive here. When you try to be exactly the same as everyone around you, you don't survive, because essentially there is nothing to stop people from going to where they currently are to come to you. You've got to be different. You've got to have a point of difference. And this kind of leads nicely into what I would say is the final stage of kind of running a successful business based on the observations that I've made, and that is recognizing how everything is one. Businesses that are successful understand that every single piece in the puzzle is important. There isn't greater importance placed on one aspect more so than another. Everybody has an important part to play, and that individual piece of the puzzle completes the entire picture. If you take a piece away, the picture is incomplete. There are so many businesses here in Italy that fail to remember this. They become obsessed about the money. They become obsessed about maybe the staff members who create the money for the company, and they forget about maybe the core aspects and other staff members who actually are as equally integral to the running of that business as the people who are making the money. And essentially, it's something that is a real shame, because everything is interconnected. This has been the backstory of this video. And essentially, if you don't treat certain aspects of your business in the right way, whether that be people or processes, you are going to be running something that's very unbalanced. And essentially, potentially, you are going to lose people who are extremely talented and could actually offer a lot to your company. So you have to really be able to look at the bigger picture and to understand how every component of your business is important. Embrace inclusivity, embrace communication, embrace the need to value every single person who is a part of your company. This is so important. And I've been in shops here where I've seen managers speaking to their staff like they're pieces of dirt on a shoe. And I think, but do you realize that if you didn't have that staff member, perhaps you wouldn't have been able to open your shop today? Like, you wouldn't be able to serve the customers and take their money that enables you to keep your business running. Everything is a circle. Everything is full circle. And if you don't treat your staff right, you end up with staff shortages. You end up not being able to deliver the service. People end up looking elsewhere to go and get the things that they need because they're not receiving a good service. Everything is full circle. And I think recognizing that everything is one really helps those businesses who understand that concept to thrive. And I think that's probably the most important thing of all. If you enjoyed this video, I think you will absolutely love this video right here, where I talk about what it's like to work here in Italy, because it isn't always a bed of roses. So it pays to be prepared. I will see you in the next video.